What up, guys? Here we go. I got a video here. It's a KLDO update. I've already made a video on this before. Hopefully you didn't miss it, but if you did, we're going to give another update on it, see where we're at now. So I bought in this level. I was expecting it to come down to $4.95, but as I was watching the RSI when we had this drop, I saw it bouncing at the 1 hour RSI, and it did a little kind of a small double bottom there, but we ended up getting supported at the $5.77 area. So I actually got in at the $6 area, and I loaded up, and I still want more. I'm kind of regretting I didn't buy more, but this thing is looking crazy. Now I'll get into a little bit what it is, but for now let's talk about what it's done. So it bounced off this trend line, and it made a little flag, and it broke out of this flag. Now right now we're consolidating. We had a little red candle, but as you see on the 4 hourly, the 20 EMA here is coming up to make a cross. Now I see the 50 EMA, which is the red line, and I know it's hard to see everything, but the red 50 is coming down to cross the green line, which is my 100 EMA. I mean, the volume coming in is amazing. We did have this breakout of my trend line here on the RSI, and we're kind of coming back down and retesting. Now, I was expecting it to come up higher, but, you know, with it to come back higher, it actually plays out a little differently on what my original idea of this whole pattern was going to turn into, which is a head and shoulders pattern, bringing us down lower. But that's still not out of the question. But now, if we look here, I'm going to draw this line here because this was actually where we got a bounce. So some of the other lines I'm probably going to have to get rid of because they really were a little bit useless. I thought we were going to have support or resistance on that line, and it really didn't do shit. So, whoops. Holy shit. Sometimes this eraser on this thing doesn't work well. So let's draw this line here for something. Now, of course, you know, past performance doesn't usually relay future results. So, of course, something that caught resistance in the past doesn't always work as support in the future. But, you know, I like to try to look left and figure out my shit and see if there's potential areas of support. So as you see, in the past, we have almost always created some type of W before shooting up. And that happens with many, many stocks. But we had W there. We had a little fake out, which dropped us down, actually. And actually looked like a head and shoulders. And that was the shoulder that dropped us. Then we spiked back up, double topped, came back down, created another W, went back up. I mean, it's been consistently moving in and out of this thing over the course of actually 3 months from what I've been looking at. Now, right now, we're creating kind of a V shape. So we need to make some kind of W, in my opinion, because that's what we've been doing. But we are getting close to the end of this big pattern that we'll get into in a few. So if we look kind of closely, I think we could maybe make a small W that's going to force us to go up. Where we are right now, and this is just a very, very minor, very small thing I'm seeing here. You know, if we change this trend line here, that was kind of where we broke out right there. That seems like that's where it caught resistance. So I want to change my line here because that was my breakout point. So are we going to come back down here in this tiny little head and shoulders looking pattern? Are we going to catch support on my line I just changed there? Or are we going to come all the way back down to this lower line on the RSI? You know, there's a couple different things that could happen. This could be a potential support right here. Retest this for support, breakout, or come back down. I want to see some type of W, whether it's a bigger drop or a smaller drop. I mean, if it's a bigger drop, I'll show you some price targets that I could see this potentially happening. Let me hide these. Let's bring this TD9 sequential here, TD sequential. You know, if you're not familiar with that, watch some of my other videos. But we did have a red TD9 flash there on the 4 hour. We ignored it for a little bit, and now we're getting that red candle there, which, you know, it was calling for. which is no problem. And we might have a little bit more of a correction depending on what happens. Now, this 50 crossing this 100, the red crossing the blue, could push us down a little bit, which would bring us to this W that I'm hoping to see on the RSI. And if we were to get this W that I'm hoping to see, we could come down and test this 4-hour 20 EMA. Now, if we were to come down and test that, the price target for that, I think, is around $6.87, $6.80. So that would be where I'm going to continue starting to load up even more. I mean, you could buy it anywhere in this range right now. It's consolidating, bouncing around in there. It's really not a bad idea. But for me, I like to put my position from a position of strength, and which is why I bought where I did originally. But now I'm going to wait for a little dip, and I'm going to buy again. Now, I think we're going to come down and test this little, bull pennant or triangle of some sort or maybe a little falling wedge, whatever you want to call it. We're going to come down and test that. We could, worst case scenario, which I'm not really seeing happen as much as I would love it. I mean, this is something right here that I've been watching for. Since I bought that at the 577, this is what I was expecting to do. We tried to break out of this pattern. We had a false breakout. We couldn't catch support and blow off there. So we actually just dumped back down completely. And it makes sense because you're so early in a pattern here. If you try to break out this early, like we did right here where we made a W, went back up, double topped, came down, way too soon in the pattern. But it wants to break out. So now we're getting closer to the end of this pattern. This is the time to break out. But the warning signs for me would be if we break out again where we did, we might actually go up, create a head and shoulders, come back down, try to retest it for support, and then break up. Now, if we can create a W right here at the end, where I'm thinking that what we might do is we possibly could not have that head and shoulders play out, but it's still something I'm going to watch whether we make this W or not. The W that we make over here could just break us up enough to come up from the $6.87 up to the $8.90 area, double top there, triple top there, come back down, retest the pattern for support right here. If we get support there, blast off up into the $12 range, create this massive W, and potentially break out of this huge pattern here. That we won't know until we get to the $12 range, if we get to the $12 range. But I'm potentially watching this $8.92 area like a fucking hawk when it gets there, because we could have to sell there, or we might have to sell half there and then rebuy again at that trend line when it comes back down to retest. We'll have to see. But if you look at this overall pattern, this looks like a shoulder, this looks like a head, and this looks like a shoulder right here. And if we create a W when we come back down after the head and shoulders pattern, retest that, that'll be the final shoulder before we take off to hopefully new highs, but potentially the $12 level, because we've been rejected there 3 times now. As you see, we keep on touching that trend line, at the massive trend line at the top. So if we try to take a inverse head and shoulders potential breakout target, we're looking at that $12.06, which would probably push us up to that top of that pattern. And that's saying if we come down, retest that triangle, break out, and then we'll go up there, and that'll make that shoulder. If we were to take a measured move now, we'd probably top out kind of where we've topped out in the past, which is around $11 or $10, if we don't create a head and shoulders pattern. So we'll have to watch that crazily. But the bottom of this trend line completely, which I don't think it's going to come down to retest, but if it did, 606, which is my entry point. So, I'll just buy more right there too, but I think I'm going to put some more buy orders in at the $6.80 level. It looks like the 24 hourly is at 670 or so we could come around 670, 680. 680 sounds like a really good number to me. That's going to be some support right there. I mean, there's not too many warning signs telling me that this thing's going to come down. Just that red coming down across the green is a little bit concerning, but that's just going to bring the red closer to the yellow line. And by me just saying red and yellow in colors is just making it a little easier for you guys. But the red is the 50. I know that because I made the colors. Yellow is the 20. So if the 50 comes down closer when it crosses this blue, then the yellow continues moving up. When we cross the red, or when we cross the 50, that's a golden cross. And in the past, we've had so many golden crosses, and every time we have the golden cross, we've blasted up. So, if you want to try to enter this thing, you could buy anywhere from $6.80. Keep an eye on it. Maybe do a small position there. Keep an eye on it. And if everything's looking good and it doesn't break below that, then, if it does break below, then $6.06 would be your next level, and I would buy there for sure. And then as I said, worst case scenario is we have a fake breakdown. We come down to the $5 range. But looking at these charts, I'm not seeing any of that happening. We're getting a lot of buying, not a lot of selling. And this thing's got to come up and at least create the shoulder. So that was the little death cross there. And honestly, we had a death cross and we still continued up. That's huge right there to me. That's wicked bullish, because a death cross is a sign to break us down. But because so many people were buying this thing, that means some big money's in this thing. They were buying the shit out of it whether we had a death cross or not. And I was in on that also, because I can see this pattern that's possibly playing out. So I'm getting in on it. And I was in on this thing last time it spiked. It was at $5 on a Monday, and it started breaking out like insane. And I got in around $7, and the thing shot up to, I forget if it was $12 or $14. And then it came back down, retested the 9.23.382, which is where it made it a little, it's starting to make an M. I saw an M forming, came back up. Sorry, it wasn't $14, it was $11.78. But if you look at the RSI, it looks like we're potentially creating a W, or it could be a head and shoulders, like I said, but it's too soon to tell. We are getting resistance right now on the daily, which is another reason I'm thinking that it's possible, if we don't break through this massive resistance level, we could come down a little hair. Whoops, I clicked on something. And yeah, I'm getting super excited when I'm talking about this, because I know the fundamentals of this thing. And if you guys want, research KLDO. It might be hard to find stuff on. I don't know. I've researched it a little bit, and I'm going to do some more after this video, because what it is it's a company that works with CRISPR, and they are trying to find a cure for blindness. And from the research I've been doing, look at this. This is a golden cross right here that pushed us up. So we're getting close to having another golden cross here. And we've had some fake golden crosses here where it's crossed in, back, and then it just kind of consolidated for a while, and then it broke out. But this company is working on a cure for blindness, something that if somebody goes in that's blind, they're doing something. I don't remember if it's injecting something or I forget exactly, but within 3 days, the blind person can see. That's fucking huge. Excuse my language, but I mean, this is something at the very bottom right now. And if this company gets FDA approved, and they actually have, they have proof from what I was reading. They already have something that works, but they just have to get it FDA approved and everything. And this is hidden from us right now, and nobody really knows about it. I'm hearing potentially Bill Gates is investing in this thing on the short side, and some big motherfuckers are investing in this thing. And yeah, it's still low right now, but wait till the media starts announcing about it. So we can't get so excited that we put our whole life savings in it, or anything like that. But I would look for a position in there for a long-term hold, even if it comes up to this 885, comes back down to that 675 area, whatever. You still have a good position if you're buying it right now before this breakout. This isn't financial advice, so I can't really give you financial advice. I can just tell you what I'm doing, and I don't mean to hype this thing up so much, but I'm hyped about it. So, like I said, I'm pissed I didn't buy more at the 577 area. I'm going to do more research after this, see if I can find something else. And if you guys like this, I can tell you more information that I heard on it. But if we look on the weekly, we are getting the resistance right here at this line on the RSI down below. I know it's a little hard to see, but we're getting a little resistance, but it makes sense. We're right at the edge of this pattern. We're like a week away, maybe. There's a lot of things I've been watching that have like some massive patterns that they're ready to break out. Like this market's about to go nuts with a few stocks. RIDE, that thing broke out on Friday, and it's going to be continuing up if it gets a nice retest. A couple other videos I've showed you guys of breakouts and stuff. I don't know if anyone's getting in on this stuff with me. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, so you can follow me all you want. I can't tell you we're going to win, but I've had some pretty damn profitable trades, and I've been calling them out on my videos this whole way. So, I mean, I haven't lost much. So on the MACD on the weekly, we did have the negative cross that pushed us down to the 577, and it's starting to turn a little bit. I'm not sure if it's going to continue to go down or if it's going to eventually roll up and cross up. We got to keep an eye on that thing for sure. Let's take a look at some of these other MACD crosses on a couple other time frames. Let's look at the daily here. We had a cross on the MACD there recently that's pushed us up, so we could still come up and make this head and shoulders. It does look like a potential head and shoulders on this even on the MACD. So I'm going to watch this thing to come up to about this 52 level, and it could potentially roll over there. So that would be the $9 area, but it really depends on how everything else is looking at the time. But for now, I have a potential watch, and I have to have some type of idea when you get into something like this. I mean, you can invest long term, or you can, if you're swing trading, you can invest now and have a plan. Okay, I'm going to sell half of my position at this level unless something looks bad, or unless something looks good at the time. But for now, I'm going to invest some now and sell half at $9, and then I'll let the rest ride, whatever you want to do. So if you look at the 1 hourly, just for the hell of it, the MACD looks like it could turn into a W. Now, like I said, we could still come down to this bottom 606, but I don't really see it happening. We're getting, we have some support lines right around the 680, 670 area, which is in confluence with the 4-hour EMA. But we could make some kind of like small W here. This could be some kind of consolidating that we're doing right here, and we could come back down a little bit and then make a W before we come up. I mean, this is going to be a week away, so we still have some room to move within this, and this is only on the hourly. So, if this is going to blow up in a week or on like next Thursday or something, that's still quite a few hours to make some moves in this channel. And on the 4-hourly, we still have some moves that we can do here. So we could potentially do a little bit of a drop, come down to the 680, consolidate, and then, get that golden cross that blasts us out of this pattern. So, I mean, this thing is awesome. So I would, I'd just try to position yourself. Keep an eye on the thing and put it on your watch list. And, you can make a breakout trade if you'd like. Be safe if you want, or you can start investing now and, figure out your plan if you want to do what you want to do. But as you see, the 606, 601 area is potentially the bottom of that channel. So even if it comes down to that area, you still want to buy that shit, unless I make a video with some kind of warning. But I mean, I don't see this happening right now. So I'm in on it at 577. So I'm in a pretty, I have an average of 606, but I bought some at 577, bought some at all the way up, and then I bought a shit ton at 606, so that ended up averaging me out. But I'm seeing a breakout potentially somewhere during this week coming up. So we're going to just keep an eye on this thing and see what happens. All right, guys, I hope you're liking my content. Leave me some likes, man. I see a lot of views on my videos and no likes. So, I appreciate the likes just to let me know that people are enjoying this shit, or if they just hate hearing me talk and ramble. I don't know. So if you can, if you have some time, feel free to leave some likes. And, that's about it. Have a good one.